Hello, Scrap and Ames fans. How are we all? Today I have a new little series I'm thinking of starting called Amy's Arty Fun. I got my first art journal, Dilutions art journal, as you can see there, in a Scrapping Clearly Mother's Day sale a few weeks back. And I've never done anything like this before. I'm not generally arty like this, but I wanted to give it a go because sometimes, I feel the need to do a bit of mixed media and don't necessarily want to do a layout. So I thought an art journal would be really good just to get that, creative energy out. All right, so I've picked out a whole heap of different acrylic paints, as you can see there. I've got a blue-coloured Dilutions paint. I've got a Kaiser Craft acrylic paint, a couple of those there. But what I'm doing here is just spraying some, I think it's called pickled raspberry. Yep, picked raspberry, sorry, of the Distress Spray Stain. So I've just sprayed it on the page here. Now, I haven't used gesso or anything because the pages are quite thick, but I have used some baking paper to make sure that it doesn't sort of bleed too much into the other pages. So what I've done is just squirted that with my little mist bottle there of water, and I'm just moving it around a little bit. I didn't have a plan for this. I'm just basically trial and erroring, that's not even a word, but anyway, some different techniques that I've seen used and haven't necessarily done either well on a layout or not at all, because I guess a little bit of I'm not sure what I'm doing. So this was one of them. So just, as I said, spraying these ink sprays on and using my water just to squirt it on and make it a little bit more watered down so it moved across the page a bit easier. So as you can see, that's blending in. I did only really want to use like a pink and blue on this first page. I guess for me, this first page was a bit like a title page almost. This is my journal. No one else really sees this except you guys, I guess, for when I do them. So I wanted this to be sort of a, this is my book kind of page. Yeah, so I'm just getting my heat gun here. As you can see, now I do edit out this. I just show you what I'm doing at first. I do use the heat gun to push around the page, the ink a bit, just to get a bit of a pattern happening and just to dry it off. And just dabbing off some excess now after I've dried it. And I think that's turned out really well. I really like how it's mixed together, but you can still sort of see that it's obviously a blue and a pink. Now, what am I doing? This video actually went for ages, so I've edited a fair bit out, simply because, as I said, it went for a while because I wasn't sure what I was doing. I was just going with the flow. I had a few things I wanted to use. So here's the Colour Blast colour paste in Bling. Again, something else I got from the Scrap and Clearly Mother's Day sale. I love this. I have to say this is an amazing colour paste, and I'm going to try and get some more, build up a bit of a stash with them. It just goes through, it just moves really easily. It's quite smooth. The colour's really good. I really like it. So as you can see here, I'm just using a geometric heart stencil just to pop that colour paste through. And then I'm just going to add, didn't really do a lot there, but I did just add sort of an outline there that was left over. Now, what am I using here? Was that I think I used the gel medium here, the Impasto gel medium, by, well, it doesn't matter who. Anyway, so I'm using that with the blue acrylic paint. Again, this was something I just wanted to trial and error. I've done something like this before on layouts, and it hasn't always worked 100%. But I'd seen someone, I think I'd seen someone on YouTube do it before, and I thought, oh, they made it work really easily. Still, as you'll see, don't really work 100%. So all trial and error, I guess. But I'm just pushing that through this scripty font stencil. I don't make you watch all of it and me dry it, and just give you the idea of what I'm doing. As you can see down that bottom left, it sort of bled in underneath the stencil, so it didn't really make the imprint all that well. But you know what? It doesn't have to be perfect. I figure it's my art journal, and we'll just go with it. And hey, if it really bothers me, I can cover it up. which I may end up doing, but I'm not 100% sure. Okay. Oh, here, I wanted to use this. I also wanted to use some things in my journal that I have sitting on my desk that I never seem to use I seem to pull out and never use in a spread or a layout scrapbooking wise. So I've decided to use it in these art journal. So that was that fancy, it's a Heidi swap word. They're not acrylic, what are they? I don't know what it's called. Now, so I'm trying to use up, instead of wasting things, as you can see here, I'm just using my little paint dabber and I'm just making some splotchy circles on the next page just to use up that gel medium and stuff I used. I did dry it before I stuck it down. I just took the drying part out for you just so it's a bit of a base for my next page. I'll play with it with what I want to do. Something I've learned from watching Inky Quill, Adele, not wasting anything, using it again. Okay, so just using the pink Hazer Craft acrylic paint here, and I just wanted to outline that gold heart with a bit of pink. I really wanted to make some pink and blues as the sort of standing out colours on this. They're my two sort of favourite colours, I guess, and that's why I did it. So I outlined the heart, and at first I wasn't sure. Again, I'm not arty like this, but I think it turned out quite well in the end, you'll see. And I'm just using a little paintbrush just to smooth it out and spread it around a little bit. Trying to get very arty here. Now, what have I got? Oh, and then I'm just going to add some swirls of blue using my finger just around the page just to get messy and, yeah, just to cover in some spots. I kind of like how it looks a bit faded. It's not perfect, and that's what I want for my art journal. It's a way of, as I said, releasing some bit of arty creativity and getting messy, and in that it doesn't have to be perfect. For me, I guess it's sort of, instead of writing a journal, it's putting it into the creativity, I guess you could say. Now I'm just pulling out some die cut pieces. These are just a reject shop one. I brought them, I think because I was there, really, not necessarily. I usually buy my items as I need them, or if I want to test something out like this, for buying the art journal and stuff. I brought these just because they were a new thing, and I thought, oh, well, that'll be good. And have barely used them on my spreads. I'm not sure if it's because I don't really use like the black. So I decided that this was a great way of using some of these up and not having things just lying around collecting, arty dust in my stash. So just placing and just fiddling around with what's going to go on the page, and I may end up changing it a little bit actually to what you see here, but we'll see shortly, I guess. Just using some pink thread, and again, this is a way of me testing out things. Like, I don't always use thread. I use twine usually because thread can be so fussy and I can never get it to sit the way I want it to. It drives me up the wall. But it is something that adds a nice bit of texture to layouts and spreads and things like that. So I'm sort of using my art journal just to, I guess, test things out a little bit too that I've seen done, and, try and get it to perfect it, I guess, before I use it on a page. How do those that do art journaling, I know there's so many of you out there that, obviously do it so well. What do you use your art journal for? Is it just to test out ideas? Is it to sort of, a release of your creative mind? Or, for me, it's going to be, as I said, it's having a bit of that release. It's testing out things. It's, almost like, as I said, an art journal diary, sorry, which is what it is. But, instead of writing Dear Diary, I'm going to get my paints out or whatever and just let it go. So what else do you use yours for? Well, leave me a comment. Be interested to see how people use their art journals. If there's any that are like me that just are using it to splatter a bit of messiness in. So as you can see, I'm fighting with the thread here and the glue because it keeps sticking to my finger, obviously. But yeah, it works in the end. And again, I had to remember it doesn't have to be perfect. So I think just these embellishment pieces are all just from this ephemera pack here, you see, all the die cuts. So as I said, I plan to try and make a bit of a series out of this. I'm not going to say how regularly because it's just going to be when it happens. So yeah, I'm just going to call it Amy's Arty Fun, and it's just going to be all art journaling stuff. As I said, if you've, leave me a comment about how you use your art journal and, even different techniques or something. If you've seen me do something and go, oh, well, you probably could have done it this way or whatever, leave me some constructive criticism is always nice. But yeah, so as I said, this is the first one, and I haven't filmed a second one just yet. I'll probably do that shortly. I feel the need to get a bit messy again. So I've got the long weekend here in Australia coming up, so it's just June long weekend, so I might spend some time taking some time out doing some crafty arty stuff. Alright, so just wrapping up by adding some things, bits and bobs to the page. These are some stickers. Again, I used them in here as a bit of a, I don't seem to use them on my layouts. They seem to just be sitting there and sitting there and sitting there. So I've decided to use them in this. I don't want things going to waste, and I have a little container that just has random bits in it. So I decided to use that to use on this page as well. Those, as I said, those gold word stickers you see. I'm just using, here is the Nuvo script font pens, which I brought, what was it, about a month ago? Beginning of May, yep. So at a craft fair thing they had here in Canberra, Craft Alive fair. So yeah, just, as I said, it's a bit of a title page, and I think that's pretty much done. Oh, no, adding some bling. Of course, you got to add some bling. And as you saw, I used wet glue to stick everything down because it is mixed media, heavy mixed media background. It is much better to use the wet glue than just like a tape, an adhesive tape, because it won't stick necessarily or stay stuck. And being that these aren't in page protectors, I'm really mindful of the fact that they need to stick. I don't want things falling out over time. All right, I think I'm just finishing up here. Let me see, what am I doing? I think I've nearly finished. I'll give you some close-ups of what I've done. Let me know if you liked it. Give me a thumbs up. And as I said, leave me a comment about, your art journal experience and what you use your art journals for. If any real idea what you want to use it for, you just go with it. And as I said, I hope you enjoy this series. And I will see you again shortly.